Run the ball like Mitchell, or you can be like Reynolds and Skiffle. Give it a Johnston and you'll get triple. Pass it to Cleary, you know he'll run the pitch. Score points like Jabojevic, I'm game day fit, no need a switch. Cooking up like Cookie Man's in the kitchen. Who's that on the wing? It's Sivo. Score, try and do the Guffrino. Don't get too rowdy or too keen, or you'll end up like Hasentino. Get a 40-20 like DCE. Run the ball like hectic cheese. Support runner, that's Pappenhausen, but I still got Teddy at the SCG.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fire Siren podcast. Not too sure what's happening there, but good to be back finally. It's been a bit of a break. We've all had things going on, but that's just life. Round 11, it had it all. Some high-scoring games, some low-scoring games, some robberies as well. But first off, well, Faraz just fucking turned off his camera and muted himself. I was going to go to him, but I'll go to Lockie first. Lockie, how you doing today, mate?
Yeah, good. Good to be back. It's been a while. We've all been really busy attending Magic Round and work and life and things, but it's good to be back.
Awesome to hear. Davos, what about you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Noah. It's good to be back after a little break, and I can't wait to rip in with you boys to this episode.
Awesome. And last but not least, Faraz, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's been a while since we did this. Obviously, good to be back with the boys. Obviously, a bit more busy with the household chores and all that with dad being overseas, but we'll get through it. But can't wait to be back on tonight.
Absolutely. So tonight we will be talking about the round that we just had, which was round 11. We'll start off with Thursday night. Boys, I'll quickly take us into this game. Storm versus Broncos. The Storm in Melbourne getting the win 24-16. Now, podcast obviously run by 3 Broncos fans and a Storm fan. Now, it's fair to say Davos in the lead up didn't tease us about the win. Very, very calm about it. But what the fuck was this game? Todd Smith, not even sure what game he was watching, but he was making calls from a completely different game, in my opinion. The Pat Carrigan sin bin for a hip drop was absolutely absurd. And then we saw other hip drops over the weekend, which I'll get into a bit later. We saw other hip drops over the weekend go unpunished as just on report. The judiciary even said Pat Carrigan shouldn't have been, well, they didn't charge him. And Graham Annesley also said that it was a mistake on behalf of the refs and Pat Carrigan shouldn't have been sin binned. So, boys, we'll start off with Lockie. What were your thoughts on the game, obviously, and obviously the refereeing, the officiating?
I think cracking game, well, could have been a cracking game of footy. First half was touch and go. Second half was blown out due to the fact of the officiating. If the officiating was on point, it would have been a cracking game. A golden point would have been in the picture. I think we have to go to the realization of Todd Smith is human. He makes mistakes and everything. But the fact of the matter is, in a real life job, if your boss is coming out and saying that you fucked up to someone, to a customer, to someone, you would get spoken to or you would get warnings for that situation. I don't know if Graham Annesley has spoken to Todd Smith, but what he did on Thursday night is he ruined a game of rugby league. And all the Broncos fans chirping, saying they were robbed and all this. I don't think we were robbed. I think we were robbed of a good game. We weren't robbed of the 2 points because the Storm were the better team, but it could have been a lot closer than what it was. But the whole NRL world, it was trending on Twitter. Everyone was blowing up about the officiating. So it's not just a one-sided story here. There needs to be a good look. There needs to be consistency. The Carrigan hit drop was bullshit. The game went for over 2 hours. I don't know how you're supposed to keep a game flowing or a team to get momentum when the games just stop-start like that. It was fucking bullshit, and everyone has a right to be pissed if you're a Broncos fan.
Very true. And listen, when I say the officiating was shit, I don't just mean it was shit to the Broncos fans and to the Broncos team in general. I mean it was just shit like overall. Like the Xavier coach try, for instance, that was disallowed. That should have been a try. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have been. That hit Justin Olam's head. That was completely fine. It should have been play on. But the fact is they say they want the game to flow, and like focusing on that Xavier coach, what should have been a try. if the ref had just not blown his whistle and actually allowed the game to be played, and then looked at it once the try had been scored, they would have seen it was actually a try. So it wasn't exactly one-sided, but just some of the calls, like the Pat Carrigan sin bin, really changed the game, and something that shouldn't have happened. I think they scored, 18-10 was the score after Pat Carrigan eventually came back on, and the damage had already been done by that point. But next we'll move on to Davos. Obviously, congratulations though, Davos, on Storm getting the win. Like Lockie said, they were the better team on the night, and they played the game that they were given. And although I don't agree with some of the calls, I'm happy for you that you got to see your team win. What were your thoughts on the game?
Oh, I appreciate that, Noah. Yeah, look, it was a good game, but it was definitely ruined by referee decisions. I completely disagree with the Paddy Carrigan sin bin. He didn't even touch the bloke's leg, and apparently it's a sin bin. But yeah, look, I'm happy for the Storm. I'm glad we won against a really good Broncos team, and they took it up to us. I mean, Reece Walsh is outstanding. Payne Haas was outstanding as well. Yeah, it was just a game kind of just ruined by poorly judged decisions. But look, Broncos fans, don't hold your head up high, because you guys are a good team and you'll do damage in finals. So yeah, that's all I have to say, to be fair.
Absolutely awesome. And Faraz, I know you've been waiting for this. You wanted to have a talk about it, Faraz. What were your thoughts on the game? Yeah, nice, Faraz.
Are you guys through? Sorry, you're lagging on my screen. Sorry.
Okay, we'll redo that one. Faraz, Davis has just finished talking. Now, what were your thoughts on the game? I know you've been wanting to talk about it and the officiating. So talk us through what your thoughts were.
Yeah, this game, I mean, not even speaking as a Broncos fan on this game had potential to be a game of the round, game of the year. Could have got to Golden Point, could have gone either way. And like you boys touched on, it's not just the Broncos. The Storm got some pretty harsh calls at the back end as well. But the matter of fact is, the hip drop call, I don't even know what a hip drop these days are. Remus Smith looking at penalty for a sin bin. Effectively for 20 minutes, the Broncos had to defend without like a man on the field. It's just getting to the point where it's like there's no consistency in the game. The game's not flowing. We want the game to be faster and flow at a good pace, but it's hard to do that with these calls getting in the way. Like imagine that in an Origin arena or a Grand Final arena. That would crack up the NRL so much. And the backlash has been fair. And look, nothing against the Storm. They did what they had to do on Thursday night. They got the 2 points, but if you're a Broncos fan, you can definitely feel hard done by. And the Storm can also feel hard by them. That should have been a last try too. The 4 against could have been much higher. But matter of fact is, I do believe the Broncos were rigged. I won't say necessarily robbed, but at the same time, who knows? We could have scored. We could have easily won this game if the decision didn't happen. So, yeah, it's a tough one because it was such a good game with 3 boys. And then these calls just affect the whole game. It just creates headlines. And look, I'm still devastated about it because at the end of the day, whatever it is has happened and we can't take it back. But I'm just hoping that I can get some consistency. And to be fair on Todd Smith, even though we are fairly harsh on him, the bucket did him no favors at all. But yeah, look, disappointing way to like finish off what was such a great game.
Yeah, definitely. Now, before we move on, I just want to quickly point out some of the decisions that were made that sort of affected the game. This is just to show you that I'm not just saying it was bad decisions against the Broncos. The first mistake I can remember is probably the Herbie penalty try. In the time, I thought it was a fair penalty try. Looking back at it, you could say there was a player there. It probably should have been a professional foul instead. So that was the first mistake. And then again so that was Herbie scoring that one. Then Herbie getting sin binned for Remus Smith, pretty much running into his back and falling over. That was a bad decision as well. Pat Carrigan hip drop, the Xavier Coates runaway that should have been a try, and to be fair, they've just robbed rugby league fans of seeing that was a great try. That would have been an absolutely amazing try. He beat 4 or 5 Broncos players to score that. So yeah, it wasn't just one-sided refereeing; it was just bad officiating, and that's I guess what we're getting at. But we'll move on from the Thursday night game. We'll move on to Friday evening. Bulldogs versus Warriors. And Lockie, you can take us through this one.
Yeah, so I did watch this one. the Warriors just started way too fast for the Bulldogs, I reckon. The Bulldogs were chasing their tail the whole game. It got out of reach. Sean Johnson put a masterclass on in that first half. Nick Klogstad, once again, unreal. Fanua Blake, the try-scoring machine, front rower. He could be in the leading try scorers this year. Who knows? But we'll go to Faraz first. What did you think? Do you think the Bulldogs just were behind way too long for this one?
Yeah, obviously they started way too slow. The Warriors took a 12-0 lead. The Bulldogs just never ended that first half. The Warriors had enough attacking position, field position. The Bulldogs did make a fight over in the second half, but to be fair, they were never in that game. The Warriors, I think that first half was enough for them to get the job over the line. They probably took it a bit easy on the second half. To the credit to the Bulldogs, they fought hard in the end, but this wasn't simply enough. They are clearly missing a few troops. Josh Adokar being ruled out late didn't help at all. Although the rookie did well on his debut, Blake, whatever his name is, what is it, Blake Wilson?
Yeah,
I think he stepped up real hard. Yeah, look, the Bulldogs are obviously having a tough time with the injury crisis at the moment, but I still feel they could have done better to win this game. TPG is sort of hard to read on. He's sometimes so good at a freak, but so inconsistent. Adam Fanua Blake's killing it for the Warriors. I mean, I'm just happy to see Sean Johnson killing it for the Warriors. I mean, it wasn't only just like back to last year where a lot of people were saying he should retire, he should just go. He's washed. I'm happy to see him back. The Warriors are full in spirit of energy, and they deserve this win. They've been hard done by the last few weeks, playing 3 games in 11 days. So, good win. Obviously, scoreline does sort of reflect that it was a close game, but Warriors are just too good in this one, man. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, we'll go to Noah next. Do you think with this one, the Warriors' defense just stood up again? And it seems like that's their year this year of just defense is what they're focused on.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to watch the full game, but I did watch quite a bit of it. The Warriors this year, they just look different. Andrew Webster's come in as coach, and like you just said, Lockie, the main focus has seemed to be defense this year. I'm not too sure. I don't have the stats on hand for it, but they definitely look a much better defensive team than they have been over the past 3 or 4 years. So the Warriors, they're going really well at the moment. Anyone who watched our ladder prediction knows I had them finishing in 8th position this year. And so far, it's looking all right. They're actually currently in the 8, sitting at 8th position. But I don't know. I'm not too convinced just yet. They've proven themselves in some close games, but at the same time, against the higher teams, they need to put up a bit more of a fight. But no, I'm really impressed with the Warriors this year, and it was a pretty impressive win.
Davos, with this game, do you think? Well, I thought he was brilliant, but do you think Volkman has kept a spot in that starting team?
Oh, it's hard to tell, mate. I mean, Tamari Martin is a terrific player, and he was actually really good for them until he got injured. But Volkman was outstanding, to be honest. He really thrived playing that 6 role off their, in my opinion, their 4 middles really got him over the line of Walker, Fanua Blake, Toe Harris, and Josh Curran. They really set the platform and dominated the Bulldogs up front. And, Volkman and Johnson played really well off that. And it does seem like Volkman has a big future at the Warriors. So I do like Volkman there. However, when Tamari Martin does come back, I do think that, unfortunately, Volkman will have to make way for him.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. You can't really keep Tamari Martin out of the team. But we'll go to Faraz now for the next game, sorry.
Yeah, so
before we move on, boys. Oh, sorry for us. I just wanted to say, I think Volkman's actually, he dislocated his, fractured his finger. I think he did the same thing Munster did in round 1 against the Eels. So I think he might be out for up to 4 weeks now, which makes that 6th spot even harder to give away. But Luke Metcalf, young half for the Warriors, he's finally back playing reserve grade. He killed it in reserve grade last week.
Did Dylan Walker play this game?
Sorry?
Did Dylan Walker play this game for the Warriors?
Yeah, he did. He came off the bench this game.
Yeah, I like that role, to be honest.
I like him better as a ball playing forward. But so in my opinion, next week, if Ronald Volkman is out, I reckon Luke Metcalf comes back into the 6 until Tamari Martin's ready. I'm not sure when Tamari Martin's back though. But yeah, sorry. Move on for us. Let's go to the next game.
Yes, we head down to Bluebird Stadium for a blockbuster match, but I mean, wow, just simply wow. I mean, we'll head to Daniels first. I mean, are the Panthers back? Are they the premiership favourites now? And what's happened to the Roosters? They were the premiership favourites. Do you think that they've made a few blunders in their signings? Has Brandon Smith lived up to the hype? What have you made of this game? Obviously, the score was one-sided.
Wow, I did not see this coming, to be honest. Like I predicted the Panthers to win, but not by this much. Look, Jerome Luai was probably the man of the match. Like he was absolutely outstanding, and I think he's made that number 6 for Origin, a real headache for Freddie to pick him, along with Nico Hines. But
So who would you pick at the moment?
I'd still pick Hines, but I wouldn't be against picking Luai, to be fair. But yeah, I didn't see this coming from the Roosters. I mean, no one really played well, to be fair, and I agree with you. I think some of their signings, like, they don't really fit the Roosters system, to be quite honest. Like, the Roosters system is built off, like, toughness and grit. Like, for example, Jake Friend, Mitch Orbison are 2 prime examples. And I think some of the signs, like Brandon Smith, like, he's a good player, but I still don't think he's, like, the Roosters player, to be honest. And obviously Sam Walker getting dropped and all this stuff's happening at the Roosters, a lot of outside noise. But, yeah, I mean, credit to the Panthers. They're absolutely outstanding, and, yeah, they were great.
Yeah, so I'll go to Noel for this one. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you took the Panthers, but did you see the scoreline coming, and what does this leave for the Roosters?
Yeah, this was another game where I didn't really get to watch the full game, both Friday night games. But I did watch towards the end. I think I started watching about 24-0 or it might have been 18-0. Complete domination, Penrith. Roosters, they haven't lived up to the hype at all this year. I really expected better of them. I know Lockie had them in for minor premiership. I think you did too, yeah. A few people had them in minor premiership. I think I had Cowboys.
Oh, the premiership favourites.
Yeah, they were. I'm not too sure. They have the team. They have a great back five. They usually have a great halves pairing. I'm not sure why Sam Walker's not playing. Their forward pack is honestly one of the better forward packs in the league. And they signed Brandon Smith, who everyone thought was going to be a great sign this season, and he's been really disappointing. So I'm not sure where the Roosters go from here, but I don't know. It's been very disappointing so far. But good on Penrith. They played really well, and Jerome Luai may have just locked himself in for the 6 jersey for New South Wales.
Yeah, that's totally fair, mate. And before I go to Lockie, actually with Sam Walker, he's also injured himself. I think he's got a mini rupture on his leg or something on the knee, so he won't be available for another 1 to 2 weeks. So also a question for Lockie. I'll ask you this. With Manu, I think, being out now, I don't think Manu's playing this week. Who would you put at 6 for the Roosters?
You'd probably have to slide Drew Hutchison back in there, to be honest. I mean, he's done it multiple times before. He can play wherever. He's done the halves thing. For me, I'd probably put Drew Hutchison in. I don't really know who else they've got for youngsters out there.
Right.
But this game was... I turned it off at halftime because it just got boring, to be honest. It was so one-sided. Everything was just Penrith's way. I went and watched the AFL, something exciting to do. The Roosters, you look at their team every week on paper and it actually looks really good. And it's like they're on all different chapters of a book out there. They have no idea what's going on. It's so disjointed and clunky. There's no smooth ball movement. It's really hard to watch because it's just shit. But we'll see this week, see if they can bounce back somewhat. I don't expect a huge improvement, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, look, I just like you, I had them as premiership favourites. I think I had them in the grand final as well. Look, it's a tough one because they're usually slow starters and they normally know how to come from here. I know that they're a top 18, but as far as premiership goes, I'm not sure on the Roosters at the moment. They nearly lost to the Dragons a few weeks ago. They were barely convincing the first few weeks. They lost to the Cowboys, 13+ were struggling. So look, I don't know, man. I just think the Brandon Smith signing, I think why Brandon excelled at the Melbourne is because he had Harry Grant there to back him up because Brandon's not an 8-minute hooker. At the Roosters, he's got Jack. And look, nothing against Turpin. He's a great defender. He's a workhorse. But Turpin isn't the guy that's going to take this team forward. Then you've got Drew Hutchison in the centre. Suwali's not been performing well. Tedesco, he's a gun. And he's a gun and he's well established. But when's the last time Tedesco even made a line break? I don't even know, for God's sake. Yeah, man, things not clicking for the Roosters. I'm not expecting the whole things to get better. Look, it wouldn't surprise me if they come back strongly, but as far as premiership goes, they're in trouble, man. They're honestly in a whole heap of trouble. And to be honest, and this is nothing against the Roosters, I have respect for your success and your franchise, but I actually love seeing the Panthers smash you because I've never seen this Roosters side being so diabolical and like not in the contest. Even last year, they went up to Penrith and they nearly beat them. And that year, Penrith were untouchable. This year, Penrith were a bit shaky as well. They completely blew them the park. And yeah, I just don't know where the Roosters go from here, but go to the Panthers and they've established themselves once again.
Hey, boss. Take us through to Saturday.
I was waiting for Faraz to go like, oh,
yeah, I was too.
Oh, sorry. I
was next. Oh, no, it's all good now. So we got the first game of Super Saturday, and the Rabbitohs played the West Tigers. And just to add in there, yes, the scoreline does say 20-0, but I think the Tigers honestly played really, really well. Like, they were in it until like the last 5 minutes, and then the Rabbitohs just got on top. In my opinion, the two best players on the field for each team was for the Rabbitohs, I had Cam Murray, and for the Tigers, I had Isaiah Papali'i. We'll go to Lockie first. Lockie, what were your thoughts on the game, and what are your thoughts on the Tigers' performance? Because I honestly thought they put up a fight against a quality Rabbitohs team.
To be honest, it was a bit of a snooze fest. It wasn't the most exciting game. They scored, I think, 2 tries in the final 6 minutes or something.
Yeah, the final 6 minutes.
It was like 8-0 for majority of that game. The Tigers had multiple chances. I thought Luke Brooks actually was really good in defence.
He was good. He was really good.
He was actually putting his body on the line this week, which was really good to see. The Rabbitohs forward pack just gives them so much movement forward, and then the backs, they've got the likes of AJ and Campbell Graham, and Damien Cook runs off the back of that, and Latrell and all them. The Rabbitohs, at the moment, they're probably winning this race for the premiership, but we'll have to see if they can stay consistent. But for the Tigers, I think it's improvement. They're versing the Rabbitohs. We know they've won like 5 or 6 in a row now. They need to keep their heads up and keep pushing because they're showing good signs. If they can just keep getting results closer and closer, they're definitely not in the finals race, but they're definitely a chance to get up to at least 12th, maybe 12th or 10th.
I agree. It's good to see Luke Brooks doing well. Like he's improving. I'm not saying he's like an absolute star, but he is getting better. I'm happy to see that. We'll go to Faraz next. Faraz, who are your 2 best players on the ground, and what were your thoughts on the game?
I don't think he was at his best, but I think Cody Walker was brilliant. He set up a few tries, looked dangerous in attack. I think Cameron Murray, he is so good to watch at the moment. He's a workhorse in tackling. His running game is insane. Look, the Tigers, for me, they showed a lot of heart and desperation. Look, none of us really thought the Tigers would win this, even though we cheered them on. And they didn't deserve to lose this 13+. The score was 8-0 with 5 to go. They were getting a bit desperate. But look, in rainy conditions, they were barely going to score any points, and they struggled clearly in attacking-wise. But defensively, man, they showed a lot of heart. Even when towards the game was towards the end, right? They kept showing out for each other. Saved a few tries itself. I think they shouldn't take too much heart out of this, like that they suck, because they clearly didn't. They showed a lot. I reckon they could have beaten most teams on this day, but it is what it is. The Rabbitohs, they did what they had to do. Probably not the most convincing performance, but it's okay. It's in rainy conditions, so sometimes these games do get the best of you, but Rabbitohs still clinical. And at this moment, I actually had them first as well, so I've been point with that at the moment. But yeah, look, the Tigers, man, if they can keep building off this, they could generally, like, I don't know if top 8 is on the cards right now, but they could generally push away from the bottom 4. And they'll take that at this point.
100%. And last but not least, we'll go to Noah. There's a question that I do want to throw at you. Jareem Buller at fullback for the Tigers. Ever since he's come into the team, he's looked absolutely terrific. Like I think he's one of the best youngsters in the comp. What were your thoughts on him? And what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, we've only seen Jareem Buller play for I think this is his 4th week now, and he's so consistent. I mean, I know it's only 4 weeks, but he plays the same way every week, and it's so good to see such a consistency from a young player. At the moment, I don't know, the last 4 weeks, he's been incredible. I mean,
he saved like a few tries as well.
He did as well. Yeah, he did. He put up 190 run meters, a tackle break, a line break assist. Only missed 1 tackle. He ended up making 7 at fullback, which usually they don't have to make that much. Only made 1 error the whole game. He was great for Tigers. And to be fair, Tigers fans, keep your heads up. I watched the game with my mate who's a Tigers fan, and it realistically 20-0 is not that score does not do it justice. It was. I said that in the Broncos chat we're part of. I said realistically full time should have been like 8-0 or 14-6 or something. That would have been justice enough for that game. But yeah, I mean, credit to the Rabbitohs. I think, like I've said, I think they're the form team of the competition this year so far. They're the team to beat.
I know this isn't really the best of things to compliment. I know it's weird, but even then, credit to the Tigers for trying to like take the win as well towards the end. They tried to go with the short kickoffs. They could have easily just gone to the long kickoffs and like lose only 1-12, but they tried going after that result. But it didn't work out in the end. But credit to them, they could have easily lost this 8-0 and prepared for and against, but they kept fighting toward the end, and that's what you want to see as fans.
Exactly.
100%. All right, now we'll move it on to Noah now to take us through the Cowboys versus the Dragons.
Thank you, Davos. Yeah, another game I watched to completion. What a game it was. Helam Lukey, remember the name. He was absolutely amazing. Now, boys, I'll start with Lockie. There has been some chat that Helam Lukey is possibly as good as Jeremiah Nanai, and if not better. And there was talk that if he didn't injure his ACL, he could have had a similar season to Nanai last season, especially with Origin representation and such. Did you like what you saw from the young Cowboys second rower on Saturday night?
The thing for me is it's very easy for everyone to say, oh, if he didn't do this, he would have been like Nanai. From what we've seen this year, Nanai was a one-year wonder. I'm just being honest. Nanai has done nothing this year. And he's nowhere near in consideration for Origin, even if he was not injured or suspended, sorry. But Lukey, from what I've seen, once he builds into his own body, he's gonna be hard to stop on that edge. He could be like a Dave Fafita, except Lukey might go looking for the ball instead of wait for it. But yeah, the kid's a freak. From what I saw from the Cowboys, they were how do I put it? As much as they might have flogged the Dragons, they weren't amazing. Yeah, it's still like you're still letting in 22 points, and the Dragons had sin bins. You should be going after them then. Even though that sin bin on Jaden Sullivan was bullshit, Kyle Felt was laying on top of him. I don't know how Sullivan's just supposed to disappear.
Shouldn't Sloan have been sin bin if anything?
What was that, sorry?
Shouldn't have Sloan been sin bin if anything? If anyone was going to be sin bin?
I don't even think anyone should have been sin bin. It was all tangled up. It was like they were playing Twister.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like Sloan was involved in the tackle majority. Sullivan just came in. You know what I mean? So I just found that really how he got to the bin back.
I think the refs just think that these players are like Casper the Ghost and they just disappear once it.
I think Casper the Ghost.
Sorry, Lucky Fish.
I don't think it's a game to look into as much if you're either fan, to be honest.
Right.
It was disappointing for Ben Hunt. I'll add that.
Yeah. And speaking of Ben Hunt, we'll go on to Davos next. Davos, Ben Hunt's 300th game across two clubs, the Broncos and the Dragons. Do you think the Dragons could have put in more effort? They really seem to lack in the effort areas for him. I mean, Ben Hunt did most of the work. He set up 3 of the Dragons' 4 tries. So what were your thoughts on it? And yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear that.
Look, Ben Hunt, we all know how classy Ben Hunt is, and we all know he's a fantastic player, but this seems to be the only bloke in this Dragons team, besides a couple of other players, that actually tries. Like, I disagree with him playing at hooker. Look, as much as he's crafty at hooker for the Kangaroos and Queensland, he's probably one of the best halfbacks in the comp when he's playing for the Dragons. Like, the bloke tries his absolute heart out, and we cannot put past that. Look, I want to also give a shout out to Jack DeBellin. I think he's been really underrated and is flown under the radar. He's been absolutely fantastic for the Dragons. But yeah, to answer your question, look, I personally think that Ben Hunt should be playing halfback. look, I really rate Jaden Sullivan, but I think he just needs to be developed and eventually become the heir to Ben Hunt. But yeah, I feel for Ben Hunt. He's a great player.
Yeah. And last but not least for Raz, I'll get you to touch on two things. Jack DeBellin, do you think he will play Origin for New South Wales again this year? And second off, Scott Drinkwater, since coming back into the side, into this Cowboys side, they have looked a bit better attacking-wise. What do you make of his impact into the Cowboys team?
Before I go into that, can I actually just touch on Davos' point about playing halfback? I actually disagree with Davos, not to the fact that he can't play. Obviously, he's the halfback, but I think if you're looking from a Dragon specifically as a club, right, Ben Hunt has only got so much years left in him. I think playing him at hooker is the best thing. So that way you develop in the future. You can put Sullivan and Moan together, build that combination house for the next few years, and then that way Hunt's still a crafty player at hooker, and that way you can see that Sullivan and all that can still play halfback and they can learn from Ben Hunt. I don't think it's fair to say that, he should be going back to halfback and all that, because he's going to retire eventually soon. So better off to play Sullivan already. And this hasn't been a lot of already for the Dragons, so might as well try something there. And he's been bloody good as well individually. I just hope that they take care of him. But yeah, back to your point about Scott Drinkwater, I think he's had enough impact at the back. I think people are a bit too harsh saying that they should have kept Hammer. I know he got revenge and all that, but Scott Drinkwater was smoking for Dalium. I know he's not there in the list right now, but attacking wise, he does so much for this team. His cutout passes and all that. He's instrumental in attack. Defensively, he's better as well. Yeah, I think Drinkwater's having quite the impact for the Cowboys. And what was your other question?
Jack DeBellin, do you think he'll play Origin this year for New South Wales?
Apparently, there's talks about Tyson Frizzell playing for New South Wales. So it's a bit confusing. They're obviously facing injury crisis with their back rows, but I guess it wouldn't surprise me. But I don't think he's on the first list at the moment. But we'll see how it goes. But he's been really good. He scored that first try as well.
Yeah. Well, he did represent New South Wales. I think it was 5 years ago. So
yeah,
he's not. He wouldn't exactly be a debutant in the New South Wales side.
I think just to wrap that off, I think the Dragons are going to spin. Looking at the way the Tigers are playing, I don't know. And apparently Griffin's going to get sacked. So yeah, it's already writing the wall for the Dragons this year.
Yeah, definitely. Very true. Now, if Lachlan's here, I'll have him take us through Saturday night. I'll give him a couple seconds, and if not, we'll go to Davos. Yeah, Davos, okay, you can take us through Saturday night.
Yeah, so obviously this was a game that was highly anticipated to be a good game. I mean, Raiders are one of those teams where they can just, on their day, they can beat anyone. And the Eels are decimated with injuries at the minute, but they did put up a fight against the Raiders at GIO, which is not easy to do. Look, in my opinion, the man of the match was Hudson Young. I thought he was absolutely terrific. But we'll go to Faraz first. Faraz, what were your thoughts on this game, and who was your man of the match?
Well, it looks like the boys have this us, but look, the Raiders are obviously on a 5-game winning streak. They've turned the season around after they got smacked by the Panthers, but I mean, the Eels, man, I know they're missing Moses and all that, but what did this club even do before Moses was injured? They've been striking ordinary in attack. They're boring to watch. They need a strike center so badly. Sean Lane being injured now does not help their cause at all. I don't know how they can just fall off so much of a cliff. I knew they'd fall eventually, but I didn't expect them to be outside the gate with a 4-7 record. They're dreadful in attack. Gutherson's just trying his harder. He's the only one that's trying eventually for that side. But the Eels, man, as much as I hate him, I thought that would be better than this. I had them in my top 4. I don't know why I'm regretting that. But look, at the moment, the Raiders, I'm not saying they're being convincing or anything, but hey, they don't have the toughest of draws. They could build the season from there and make top 8. Do I say they're the Premiership threat? No, but they can beat some top-tier sides like the Brisbane game without Tarpany and Wyden. They knocked them at Suncorp. That was a great game as well. Good to see Jared Craven back killing it as well. Yeah, Tomoka's doing good, but yeah, it wasn't the best game, to be honest. I just felt like the Raiders were too good in the end. But if Moses played, I probably do think Eels win, but no, it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's a good summary for us. We'll go to Lockie. Now, Lockie, I want to ask you a question about a particular Raiders player, Corey Horsburgh. Do you think that he's a chance to line up for the Maroons in game 1, or do you think that he will be in the extended squad? What are your thoughts on that, along with the game itself?
Personally, I would have him in my team. I would have him on the bench, though. For me, Carrigan starts at starting 13 this year. and that leaves a spot on the bench, which I would put Horsburgh in. This year, he's gone to a different level. He fights for every ball. He fights every contest. He runs as hard as he can. He tackles as hard as he can. The bloke's gone on a different level. He's got himself a new contract, I believe. But and again, the Horsburgh mentality is shifting through the whole team. You can tell now they're all together. It's just a never give in mentality now. They got flogged, I think, by the Roosters or someone.
Panthers, 52 or something.
Panthers at GIO. Since then, they're a different team. And it's never give in. And that comes down to Ricky as well. That's Ricky's coaching. And credit to Canberra. They're doing sensational. And I think they'll only get better. They'll definitely be in the 8 for me at this point.
100%. I agree with you. I think they're a team that can beat anyone on their day. They're a great team to watch, and I like the Raiders a lot, and hope they do well. Now, Noel, we'll go to you. Another Queensland player that I want to ask you about, this time for the Eels, I personally think he was their best player, but Jermaine Hopgood, you think he is putting himself in contention for Origin, and what were your thoughts on him this game?
Hop goat. What more can I say? He's just he's been Eels' best player this year, in my opinion. Consistent as anything. I think he's played 11 games now. Eels may have had a bye. I'm not sure. Yeah, Hopgood. Absolutely great player. I'm not too sure why at one stage they end up moving him to the bench. I'm not sure, but he's back starting at 13 now. I'm not too sure how long he'll be starting at 13, but what else can I say? He's a great player. I hope he gets an Origin debut. Not too sure if Billy will look at that. I reckon he was in contention for a debut until he got moved to the bench. That sort of disrupted his flow for a bit. But now he's back starting. Him and Horsburgh could be two Queensland Origin debutants this year. With the way they're playing, they have absolutely blown me out of the water. So yeah, for me, Hopgood, he's a chance to debut. I'm not too sure if he will, but if he does, I'll have no complaints. I know he'll give 100%.
100%. We'll now move on to Lockie to take us through the Knights versus the Titans.
Wait, didn't Lockie go before?
No, Lockie. I took over Lockie because he was out. So we'll go back to him to.
This was good game for me. I turned $5 into 105, so that was a good start. But we'll go to Faraz first instead of my take. Knights. Everyone's all over, dick sucking under the desk of Kalen Ponga. Guaranteed a front rower hits him again and he's got concussion, so we won't go too far. But do you think it's fair to go off one game to give him his Origin spot back?
The thing with Ponga is that, I do feel for Newcastle fans because we're all Queensland fans, so we couldn't give a crap. But if you look at it as Newcastle fans, they had to deal with this guy with getting injured all the time, off-field drama and all that. Look, I know he played really well against the Titans and he's been proven in the arena, but I mean, let's not forget the Titans left this defense compared to Origin. I know Ponga's proven, but on the basis of this season, I'm not confident he will do that in Origin level. Let's be real. The Titans defense isn't the strength. Ponga, look, attacking-wise, we know what he can do. He did make himself average to his credit, and he was their best player in the decider. But, yeah, I guess he's probably locked in Origin spot because of his history there, but I think his performance has been overhyped because of the opponent. The Titans can't really defend for crap. And, look, I think credit to the Knights to stick up through. They had a big second half. I think they scored 34 unanswered points. Titans went missing, and, look, they're so hard to read, man. They obviously went on a bit of a run, but their defense, man, they can't defend. They're a fun attacking side, but their defense, man. And look, the Knights, they obviously enjoyed their Bali trip, but good on them, they got the win.
Yeah. Noah, the 26-point Masters, what do you think is going wrong at Gold Coast at the moment?
Well, see, this is the problem with Titans. 26 points should usually be enough to win you a game of rugby league. And I'm not just saying that because I don't like the Titans. It should be. 26 points should be enough to win you a game of rugby league. And
That's got 5 weeks in a row, 26 points. So,
Yeah, exactly. And they lost the Broncos scoring 26. They lost to the Dolphins when they scored 26. They beat Manly. They beat Parramatta only just. And then they again lose to Knights. It's the problem's not really the Titans' attack; it's their defense. They have the talent to score from pretty much anywhere. David Fifita is coming into his own this year. He might be a chance to make Queensland to get the Queensland squad again, but I don't know. The Titans, they just aren't putting up the defensive effort that they need to be putting in, week out. And the Knights, they're looking better each week, I think, and wouldn't surprise me if the Knights are up there competing for the 8. Come year's end. I'm not too sure they'll make it, but I reckon they'll compete for it.
Yeah. Davos. AJ Brimson coming back. Sam Verrills coming back sometime in the near future. What happens with Campbell and Chris Randall?
This is really hard because, as you boys probably know, I do rate AJ Brimson and Jaden Campbell extremely highly. Look, you can't leave Brimson out of the team. As much as Jaden Campbell has been playing really well, I said at the start of the season, right, you should put Brimson at 5'8", Campbell at fullback, Foran at actually no, I said Tanner Boyd at 7 and Foran on the bench. Now you're not going to get rid of Tanner Boyd and you're not going to get rid of Foran. Look, as harsh as this sounds, I think Campbell does move back to the bench only because he is a lot more versatile than Brimson and he can come on for about 30 minutes and provide that spark that the Titans need. As for Chris Randall and Sam Verrills, look, Sam Verrills, I think, takes over Chris Randall. As much as I think Chris Randall's a good player, Verrills is come from the Roosters system. He's a quality player, provides good energy around the ruck. But yeah, to answer your question, I'd probably move Campbell back to the bench, Brimson back to fullback, and Verrills back to hooker. But it is hard.
Yeah, that's completely fair. We will go to, well, it's up to Noah. Are you doing the last one or is Faraz?
Faraz.
Okay, we'll head down to our Brookie for the last game of the round. We've got the Manly Seagulls taking on the Cronulla Sharks, and Sharks dominated this for a fair bit, but Manly had their number towards the end, but Sharks just get through of it. We'll go to Noah first. What did you make of this game? Manly, after starting the season on fire, all that hype about the preseason, all that, it could be genuine top 8 smokies, premiership standards. I don't know who says that, but what do you think of Manly? What's the problem with them? They look so good to start the year. Tommy Tobo, 60% fair. Do you think he makes Origin?
No. I get that Freddie might want to sort of stick with the players who've done well in Origin for the past couple of years, but Turbo, honestly, as a Queensland fan, if they picked Turbo this year for Origin, I would be happy. I'd be happier if they picked him over Campbell Graham. I don't know. Tom Turbo, he just doesn't look the same this year. And I know apparently he might be battling some little injuries. But yeah, so for me, they need to give him a skip on at least game 1. If I was Fitler, that's what I'd be doing, getting him, telling him to get himself right before focusing on maybe game 2, maybe game 3. But I don't know, the Seagulls, start of the year, after the first few rounds, I was completely hooked on the idea of them possibly playing finals this year. And since then, they haven't really shown up. So not too sure. But the Sharks, there wasn't a very convincing game by them either. They still ended up getting the win. But yeah, I don't really rate either team. Manly, I don't think will make the 8. Sharks, as much as everyone is hyping them up to the top 4 team, I think they'll finish 6th or 7th this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not big on the Sharks. I think they are just.
On the Sharks.
I think they're flat track bullies. Honestly, I think they punish the shit teams.
So it went from me giving them a B- to me being convinced in that, but you have run them off.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure. I'm just not convinced on them this year. Especially if they make finals, they don't exactly have finals experience.
The Sharks are the new fins up. Don't you worry.
Mate.
But yeah,
well summed up, Noah. And we'll head to Davos. You were high on the Manly Seagulls at the start. You were saying Seabold is the right man. People were hating on him. How do you feel about a statement now? And do you think Manly are in danger of finishing in the bottom 4?
Look, I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong. I am. And look, obviously, I think it's a little bit too early to obviously to see whether Manly are
I'm
finals.
not having a crack at you. I'm just asking you honestly.
Yeah, I think Manly are closer to the bottom four than they are to making finals. I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And we'll head to Lockie. Are the Sharks premiership contenders? And what's happened to Manly ever since?
Mate, Sharks finishing top 4. I don't care what you think.
Thank you. I agree.
With the squad they've got, the footy they're playing, if they can fix a few things up, Craig Fitzgibbon, he's a coach, he knows how to do this shit. The Sharks will finish top 4. I'll put money on it. Doesn't bother me. But question back to Faraz. Where do you think Nico Hines plays in all of this Origin talk now?
So the interesting thing about this is that he's become the popular choice for the number 6 jersey, but he's not actually a number 6. He's not a running 5'8". He's a general organising structured halfback. So then you're playing two halves in the same situation in an Origin match where they've never played together before. What if Cleary's struggling? Like Hines, I don't know how Hines can take control. Like they'll probably be confused. Whose team is this? Who's going to do what and what at the same moment? So look, I guess maybe Hines off the bench, but then again, who are you going to really replace him with? He's a 7. He's not going to take Cleary's spot. So look, I know a lot of people love to bat on White, and I hate White personally. Happy to admit, but you've got to think of the team combinations. Does it really make sense playing two halves together? So yeah, look, Nico Hines is a brilliant player, but I'll probably have to stick with Cleary and Luai for at least one game. I don't know.
The only other position Hines comes in for is if Tedesco gets injured.
Yeah, he could come as a 14, but then again, it's
you could play him as I know Ben Hunt and Hines are two completely different players, but you could play Hines as a ball player, an extra a link man for. But then again, I'm big on combinations, but I don't think combinations are the do-all end-all because, for example,
then if Jack Whiten's in the talks, then
Jack Whiten's not playing.
He's retired.
He's retired from international.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, my bad.
If he wasn't, he would be in the talks though. He'd be the 4th. In my opinion, no offense to Nico Hines, I know he's a Dalian medalist, but even if Jerome Luai gets picked at 6 for New South Wales, if Jack Whiten was in the conversation, I'd have him as 14 any day. He's so versatile, great player. But before we move on to the ladder up, sorry.
What time I say?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, look, the Sharks. I mean, look, I know it wasn't the most convincing win, but I couldn't give a crap what anyone says. They're my grand final at the moment. I love what they're doing with their attack at the moment. And look, let's not forget, Manly had 5-4 penalty counting towards the end. Sharks, they defended really well. Obviously, there was a fair bit of controversy towards the end with that Lachlan Pro try. Their attacking style is great. If they can fix the defense in the middle, if they can stop making a few tries in there on the edges, they could generally be premiership threats. I love Nico Hines as a player. They're doing so. Will Kennedy is the most improved player in the comp. Yeah, look, for Manly, it's about going back to basics. They probably have to take it week by week. And look, Seabold's not the entire issue at this, but he's been in this situation before, so pressure could come back down to him on it. So, yeah, look, not the result Manly would have wanted.
Yeah. Now, before we move on to the ladder update, I wanted to quickly talk about you blokes all think Sharks top 4 this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what quality opposition they have beaten so far in 2023? That makes
you can't use that as something against.
No, I agree with Noah, but they're capable of beating top tier sides.
You can't use the fixture.
And also, let's not forget. And also, let's not forget, they played the Rabbitohs round 1 without Nico Hines, and they nearly beat the Rabbitohs themselves. So,
and that's a fair point. But since then, I mean, Magic Round, they lost 36-16 to the Dolphins, who.
But to be fair, they always just shared Suncorp. It's that Hooter thing, I guess. I know at the moment they haven't really shown their potential, but if they can get on a roll here, I feel the Sharks. They're a good side. They beat the Eels without Nico Hines. I know the Eels have the quality. They beat the Raiders in Canberra. They beat the Raiders?
No, they lost the Raiders.
I don't understand the criticism of them. They're sitting 4th place.
I know. I agree.
I know, but my point is, it's not so much criticism. I just think the Sharks, the teams they've beat this year, have been the Parramatta Eels, who haven't started the season exactly so well. They beat the Dragons, which I mean, the Dragons haven't been a great team this year either. They beat the Roosters, who have also been in very poor form to start. The Bulldogs, which again, that was only a 13-point win. They ended up being obviously flogging the Cowboys, who at that stage weren't looking too good. And then they just narrowly scraped by against Manly. So I think sorry, go on.
Yeah, look, I can see where you're coming from, honestly, but at the end of the day, they're only playing who's in front of them. They have Nick Hines missing. And to be fair, other than the Rabbitohs, who's actually generally consistently a good side in this comp? Like, Storm have had their up and down results. They beat the Roosters when not many people expect them to. So, other than the Rabbitohs, which team is really consistently a genuine threat? Storm had their up and down this season. Manly were looking good at the start. Broncos as well, they've had their hiccups at points. So, to be fair to the Sharks, they're sitting in a close comp.
If we're going to bring fixture into this talk, name a good team the Broncos have beaten other than Penrith.
100%. And they could have lost to the Dolphins.
That's my point. Like you can't use the
fixture. They've lost to Canberra. They lost to Rabbitohs, and they lost to who else they lost to?
And mind you,
Warriors. That was a disappointment though.
To add to your point, the Broncos and the Sharks are not second and fourth because it's a fluke. They're second and fourth for a reason.
I know that for sure. But I just think, personally, for me, that's why I have Sharks 6 or 7. I don't
blame you for that. I don't blame you at all for that.
I just think, I'm not sure. It's just, I'm not too far.
But they haven't been convincing. This is pretty just me thinking they'll get good, but if they don't know things around, then who knows about?
Even against the teams who are bottom,
so if they only beat the nice ones 12, are you worried about them still?
So, sorry, what was that?
So they're playing the Knights this week. They should be expected to win that. If they win that by a close margin, are you starting to worry about them still?
No, because I consider the Knights a good team.
Knights are a good team. Knights are a quality team.
If they beat the Knights, I'll start to believe in them a bit.
No, they've got a good side. They've got a good side.
Oh, Caleb Ponga.
No, they've got a good forward pack, and they've got.
Weren't they close to beating the Panthers?
Huh?
Weren't they close to beating the Panthers 2 weeks ago or something?
Yeah, they lost by a field goal because.
Let me just post Kalen and a rainbow on my story, My bad.
Unicorn emojis. At the moment, I've got Rabbitohs Sharks grand final.
Okay. What? Sharks in the grand final.
Why not? Who else are you going to put? Storm have been so up and down. Broncos
I'm glad Faraz is acknowledging the Sharks because last year you gave them a B-.
Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I genuinely think they can be. Last year
I agree with you. I think the Sharks can make the grand final.
Rabbitohs.
They played most of their games at home, bro.
Rabbitohs and Sharks in the grand final. Rabbitohs
I remember Faraz was.
Who have Broncos beat? They played most of the games at home.
The Sharks now to
They could have easily lost to the Dolphins. They lost to the Raiders B side as well.
Well, who lost to the Raiders B side?
The Broncos.
Oh.
Calm down, Paul Kent.
Mate, you're Paul Kenting yourself.
But we'll quickly move on to a ladder update. We're getting up near an hour, so we'll try and finish this off pretty quickly. Round 11 ladder. The Rabbitohs, they moved to first place, 16 points. The Broncos, they moved down to second for the first time, I think, this season. Maybe since round 1 or round 2 or something, but that's the first time for a while I've seen them outside of the first position. Panthers there in third, the Sharks there in fourth, Storm fifth, Dolphins sixth, Raiders seventh, and all those teams are on 14 points. The Warriors, they're at 8 on 12. The Titans, they're at 9th. Roosters at 10th. The Knights 11th. Seagulls 12th. The Cowboys 13th. Eels 14th. Bulldogs 15th. The Dragons second last at the moment. And the Tigers currently in that wooden spoon position. I don't think they'll be there for much longer though. And that just about wraps us up.
Wait, so
do you have any questions?
For you boys as well. So from that ladder, what's a bold take you're going to go from the rest of the season from that ladder?
From this ladder. Ooh.
Yeah, so
Knights top 8.
From one of you, what is your bold prediction for the ladder? Jen, of the last interview.
Oh, I've got one, but I know you boys are going to disagree.
You're not going to like my one. You're not going to like my one.
Let me
I
guess.
swear,
Broncos.
if you
second
say
year?
Broncos out of the top 8,
Yeah.
No, just I'll let you say it first, and I'll get to mine.
I'm gonna. This is a very bold take. I'm gonna go Raiders top 4.
They've got an easy.
Ooh, that is bold, but I like it. I like it. Lockie, what about you?
Eels will make the 8.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
You go first.
For me, I'm gonna go
Finn's minor premiers.
Tigers to finish 9th or 10th.
Nah, not mine. The main thing.
I maybe would have given you. I maybe would have given you 11th, but maybe we'll see. We'll see. But I don't.
I've got 2 ball predictions. The first being Titans top 6.
What?
Jesus Christ, mate.
Now, one went outside the 8. I don't see the big problem with that.
You should
But-
go play the Drums with BKR.
The Gold Coast Titans top 6.
Yeah, I
That's
think
a
they'll
sin
finish
bin.
6
That's a sin bin. That's a sin bin.
What the fuck?
No.
Yeah, I've got to say my
Hey,
other one
what's
as
the second one? What's the second one?
well. Broncos missed the 8.
Anyway, guys, what a night it's been. Full of controversy. Faraz just said some weird shit. We'll add him back though. Faraz, I hope that one's a joke. I hope that's a joke. Say it's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Good.
That wasn't very
I
convincing.
might have to confront you from the other side of the street for those.
But I think they'll probably miss top 4 Broncos, but they'll be top 8.
Wow, you made it dissing your own team.
I'm not dissing them. Who have they beat? Tell me who have they beat.
How well the Broncos are playing, and
He was getting a boxing ring, you two.
Yeah, they were playing all last year and they choked like that. They beat them no one.
But anyway, lads, thanks so much for watching. It's been a great return. Lockie, you can show us out.
Yes, that's been another episode. We will leave here now as Faraz is starting to talk about choking. It has been Noel, Faraz, Davos, and myself once again. Another good episode. Good to be back. The podcast will be back into full swing, hopefully now. We're all getting settled back in. Follow us on Instagram at the Final Sign Podcast, where you'll see when we're going live and all the information. And we do posts weekly of tier rankings, the ladder, tips, all that kind of things. So jump over there. And subscribe here to the YouTube channel is where you'll see the podcast come into action. You'll see Faraz and Davis talk shit for about an hour.
Bullshit.
But it has been us once again. After seeing Titans 6, I might go Paul Kent myself. See you, boys. Have a good one.
Up the top.